Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, thank you for staying with us, everyone. It's Boxing Day, no doubt about that. 5 days, we're counting down to the end of 2025 as we know it. But many of the events that have happened this year will be carried over into next year in a manner of speaking. And most of those events will shape 2026. I know many people now, as the tradition has been over the decades, are already making New Year's resolutions, what they will do, what they will not do. But I've spoken to some people on and off television who say that, look, I do not make New Year's resolutions anymore. I just ensure I have a bit more discipline. I just ensure that I'm able to execute, because that's where many persons are challenged. They can have all the beautiful plan in the world, but then the challenge is when it comes to executing. For example, you tell yourself, I've got to wake up 5 a.m. Monday to Saturday, but then alarm rings and then you are snoozing and snoozing until it's past 6. So some persons believe that's one area of weakness they've got to improve on. Others say, well, I need to check my diet. I want to stay away from junk. I want to stay away from soda drinks. Amen.
No, we always break that. We make that resolution, but at the long run, we break
right.
It's fine. We're used to it.
But again, it is will that many people need. Many people need the right persons around them, accountability partners, people to hold them accountable.
Very true. Very true. Like motivation is very important.
Right.
Like someone says, if you have the right people around you, you can motivate someone to jump from a high-story building, believing he will land, have a soft landing, and he will have one. The truth is, we have to be circulated by the right persons or person, very important, that individual that will help you hold your hand for the greater good, not someone that will dampen your spirit and all of that. Once you make a resolution and you have people around you who are sincere enough to help you follow through with it, you will keep it. And sometimes you might follow through first the whole month of January, the whole month of February, then March you start dwindling down, and then the next thing you know, it was one of those resolutions, another year will come. Like you said, the right people around you to take responsibility, to help you understand that, hey, this is a goal, and you have to set that goal for yourself. Like this year could be a year that, okay, someone might say, I want my PhD, I'm going to get my master's. Some will say they're going to get married, they'll be serious in their relationship. Some will tell you, okay, fine, I'm going to have one more baby. I'm just saying. So some might just say, some will say they're going to travel, relocate, all of those things. It depends on how you follow through with it. PhD, it's all about planning the right way. Some will say they want to cut chocolate. I'm not really serious about the chocolate, so I'm just saying as an example. Don't bite me. But at the same time, it takes commitment, it takes responsibility, it takes you taking responsibility, very, very important, and you need the right amount of people around you to help you follow through with it. Because once you're with the wrong company, you cannot follow through with it.
Right. Of course, there's the process. We've got to believe in the process as well. A lot of these things have to incubate, so they won't happen overnight, especially for those who say, I want to watch my weight, I want to stay fit this coming year, I want to do more of workouts and things like that. It's not so much about how heavy you're going to be on it. It's not going to be how big you are on it. It's not going to be about how much of time. It's going to be about the consistency, the discipline, the follow through, all right, that you put into it. For example, you say, well, I want to work out 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I want to do 20 minutes each morning, first thing before I get into my daily routine. The important thing is not going to be about whether you do it for 2 hours every day, as it will be about you being consistent with your 20 minutes time every day. And you don't have to be in a hurry. First week, the second week, first month, second, third month. You may not see much of improvement or much of results, but just give it time. From the 13th week, you'll be shocked how much of results you would have seen, because these things compound. That's where many persons break and fold. Because if you have been here for 2 months, I've not seen any results, really. Juma, have you noticed any change? Juma says, well, you are still the same as you were in December last year.
I'm a positive person. There must be something I will see.
Just to motivate the person and give them hope.
Give them hope.
Right. But like you said, there's something you must see to give them hope. And you see, that hope is what keeps you going. Knowing that if you keep up with it, if you stay at it, if you continue to, if you stay consistent,
yes,
you will eventually see results. And that's why they say, if you have a very big goal, whatever that big picture is, you've got to break it into small blocks.
Yes.
All right, phases, in such a way that you achieve one step at a time. At the end of 2026, whether you are going to stand for election or not, you realize that you would have accomplished so much. You would have moved your life, some area of your life, some aspect of your life, from point A to point B.
Talking about moving from point A to point B, I tried something 2 months. Is it 2 months or last month? So I decided to stay off sugar. It was a very hard
That's
thing.
so inspiring.
It was so hard. You see, there was a time that I got chocolates. I just said, okay, let me just count them. They're like, and then people around me were like, are you kidding me? You're going to count? I was like, I'm not going to eat it. Let me just count it. I tried as much as I did. For as much as it was really hard, because I'm a sweet tooth. I love chocolate.
We know you.
But it was so hard. But I just had to do it. I wanted to try. It was hard. It was hard. And I will not lie. There was a day I just had to, please, what is it? I'm not... I
didn't kill somebody.
Seriously, it was hard. But I had to stay consistent, and it did a lot of good, really. So it's just about you putting your mind to it. It's all about the mind. I always tell people, it's all about the mind. Once your mind is set as something, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. And with the right motivation around you, right individuals, right people, family members around you, you can actually set that goal and you can accomplish that goal. So it just takes you being consistent, and it just takes you as an individual being focused and knowing in your mind that you can actually achieve this. And for me, staying off sugar, I tell people, like, really? I was like, yeah, I did. So it's just all about knowing that there's a goal, achievement at the end of that tunnel, and it's there. It's just in the mind.
Knowing that there's a goal, keep your eye on the ball, as they say. Well, let's push this motivation a bit further. We'll now join Ramsey Enoch Agbo to bring you inspiration. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
It's another beautiful day, and I'm so excited to have you right here, where you can watch me from wherever you are, in Nigeria, in America, in Canada, in Europe, in Asia, everywhere, this very beautiful day. Today, I just want to encourage someone. What I do is to ensure and make you understand that the road to success is very broad, yeah? But then, so many persons are competing for the same thing that you are competing for. But you have everything that it takes to be the one who will achieve that success. On your journey of achieving success, so many things will happen on the way, but then you are a destined successful man, successful woman, and you need to know this first of all before you get started. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Welcome to your success tip. You can start where you are. That's it. You can start where you are. Where you are does not matter. I tell people oftentimes that where you are at a particular time does not really matter, but what you do with where you are. There is this saying that as far as you can see, you can actually seize it. Now let's get to talk briefly about this all-important discussion today. What are you seeing? What's in front of you? What are the obstacles that you're seeing? The obstacles that you are seeing, are you seeing some success ahead of the obstacle? The people who are not scared of work, heavy duty, oftentimes they get to success easily. But sometimes they come dressed in form of work. But if you are the lazy type, if you are the type who doesn't want to do anything, just want success to come from heaven and just land on you, no. It doesn't happen that way. So what am I trying to establish? You need to start from where you are. Whatever you need to do. A lot of people are complaining every day. Some people complain more than the action. You're talking more and there is less of action. How would you get to your destination? What you need to do as a young man, a young woman, irrespective of age, is to start from where you are. Let me tell you something about vision and accomplishment. There is a space, all right, between your vision and the period of accomplishment. Whatever that does not have a time it's not permitted to happen. Let me say that clear. Anything that does not have a timeline, that does not have a date, does not have the permission to come to fulfillment. So whatever you want to do from where you are, give it a date, give it a timeline, and pursue it. Write the vision, make it plain, pursue it, run after it, break it into bits. This is what I want to do. Some people don't even have their to-do list. And that's the reason a lot of people are confused today. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. That's the motto for today's discussion. All right? First of all, start where you are. Secondly, use what you have instead of complaining. Start with what you have. A lot of people are potential entrepreneurs. A lot of people are potential CEOs, but their visions have died on their inside because of limitation. And the worst limitation is that one that comes from your inside, the one you impose on yourself. And that's the reason I am being, I just feel like talking about people who are stagnated today. That stagnation that you're complaining of, that you are tying to your environment or maybe to the resources that you have, that's not where the problem is. The problem is because you have refused to start with the little that you have. Do what you can. Do what you can. You can start alone, first of all, before you begin to have staff. Start it first. If you grow in a particular business to a particular point in time and you feel, all right, at this time, this is what I need to get to the other level, then I'm being limited by capital. You can meet one or two persons, share your idea with them, all right? And people can buy into your idea and sponsor your idea. Where you are now is not a limitation. The only thing that is the limitation is the fact that you have refused to start from where you are. You have refused to use what you have. You have refused to do what you can to push your vision forward. What am I trying to emphasize today? I want you to know that, let me ask something. How many dreams have died because someone was waiting for the perfect moment. There is nothing like the perfect time. The present time is the best time. If you had started that business yesterday, only God knows where you would have been now. That's your vision. I don't know why I'm talking about business today. It's like someone listening to me right now is supposed to start a business that the person has not started, maybe because the person feels there is no enough fund or there is no an enabling environment. I hear people complain all the time. We don't have an enabling environment no matter how the environment is. Get started first. All right? Things will fall into place. Some people say, I will start when I have the money. I will begin when I have the right equipment. I will take the first step when everything is in place. But no, it is beyond that. The truth is this: there will never be a perfect time. The perfect time is now. All right? The perfect time is when? It is now. According to Arthur Ashe, let me just give you this quote. The legendary tennis champion once said, "Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can." That's what we're building on today. He didn't have the fanciest equipment. He didn't train in the best facilities, but he had willpower, what we call willpower. What you need to do, you need to have what we call the willpower and the courage to start with what you have. You see, greatness, as a matter of fact, doesn't wait for perfection. It grows through progress. It's a progress. It's a progressive thing. Use that old phone, your handset. Use those old materials that you have. All right? That quiet voice. Just follow what that voice is telling you. Because what you have right now is enough to begin. The seed doesn't complain about not being a tree. It just grows where it's been planted. And every big dream starts small. You see the tree growing gradually until it becomes a tree, becomes a forest, and people go there, all right, to make use of it. Every expert was once a beginner, and every victory begins with a step. So what are you waiting for? Just take that step today, and you will get to your destination. You will get to fulfillment. All you have to do is just to take that step first. Just make that move. Well, if you can, just take that one step. Send that email, make that call, write that post, record that video. You already started a chain reaction towards your future already without you knowing. Finally, before I let you go, I want you to know that you need to take an action. Don't wait for the stars to align. Move and they will follow you. Your dream is waiting on your courage, not on your comfort. Start now. When do you have to start? Start now. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. And before you know it, you are already a talk of the town, a sought after, a success personified. And everyone, I told someone yesterday, I said, success have many brothers, but failure is an orphan. No one wants to identify with a failure. You will never be a failure. You are a successful man, you are a successful woman. Congratulations to you. This is where I will be stopping in this episode. My name is Ramsey. Once again, see you at the other side of success. Bye-bye.
All right, you're welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning on Global Television. Hope you are well inspired when it comes to success and getting that target from Ramsey Enoch Agbo. And at about this time is the newspaper review segment. I will start with the first paper of the day, and it's the Punch newspaper. Above the nameplate of the Punch, it says, Pope seeks peace, justice in war-torn communities. And you can find that read on page 2 of the Nation newspaper, And the next beside that, it says 25-story great Nation Insurance house for demolition, and that you will find on page 3. Now, next to it on page 3 also, it says poor electricity supply in Lagos, others likely to linger. And that's on page 3, and still on page 3, it says 6 Zamfara PDP lawmakers dump party for the All Progressive Congress, APC. Now, below the nameplate of the Nation newspaper, and that's the star story, says Nigeria, U.S. hits terrorists in Northwest. And that you will find on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. Now you have to go out and get yourself a copy and to well abreast with issues making round. And Nigeria, U.S. hit terrorists in Northwest. Trump is he's not joking.
No, it's not. But more importantly, the Nigerian authorities have confirmed that yes, there were strikes. All right,
yes.
Against terrorist enclaves. That is a sign, or if you like, a fallout of the intelligence collaboration between the Nigerian government and the U.S. authorities. All right. Of course, President Trump had talked about that. Nigerian authorities have confirmed it, which means it's true. But the question is, what exactly is the game plan? All right. Is there also an exit strategy? At what point will the U.S. exit? We need to look at that because people have, expressed concerns as to saying that, look, just take a look at several countries where the U.S. has had, if you like, a footprint in terms of intervention, insecurity, intelligence and things like this.
And that's true.
How did he end up? So Nigeria must not become a pawn in this case. We must be careful to ensure that we don't complicate an already dangerous or, if you like, precarious situation, which is very important. So we must be clear as to how or on what basis the Nigerian people, the Nigerian government, collaborating with the United States in this regard. Is our sovereignty being compromised in any way? Are we handing out, lunch, so to speak, just because we want to prove a point or please the U.S.? Are we at a disadvantage of any kind? Militarily, in terms of defense, economically, politically, and otherwise? We must look at that. Are we coming from a point of weakness, or are we showing strength? Of course, it's not a superiority battle, but we must be able to stand our grounds and know exactly what serves our best interest.
And, at the same time, some people will say, what do we really want as Nigerians or Nigeria? What do we really want? Some will say, we want this menace out of our nation as soon as possible, as soon as a snap of a finger. We do not want these terrorists, this ISIS, because they're causing a lot of havoc, more harm than good to our nation, our resources. Look at so much wealth they are being crumbled on a daily. Go to Maiduguri, go to Zamfara, go to places, how they destroy lives, property worth millions of naira. But at the same time, the detriment of what next? After this whole thing, what next now? So I do not understand. Do we want terrorist group out, or we're still thinking about what are we trying to save from the hands of the United States? People have a lot of opinions, but let's just hope and see. We hope it's for the greater good of the nation and, of course, Nigerians. It's very important that we understand the balance. Therefore, as much as we want the terrorists out, at the detriment of what now? So it's very, but really, we really want these terrorists out. We really, someone like me, I don't really care how they go about it. We just want them out. We're tired individuals. These are our brothers, our sisters who are involved in this. And you know what it is? Being displaced for years. Someone's life just in a snap of a finger, and then nothing crumbles. It's just unfortunate, but at the detriment of what now? That's the question.
What price are you paying?
What price are we paying
for that
as a nation, as Nigeria? But hopefully, it's for the greater good. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully, it's for the greater good.
All right. Next, we're going to be looking at the Punch newspaper. Over to you now, Lee.
All right. Well, from the headlines above the nameplate, top right corner first, with a picture of Kwara State Governor Abdul Razak. It says, Christmas, Governors APC, Saraki preach tolerance. Tax law mismatches pose serious risks. That's according to the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. They are putting out a warning that the discrepancies that are being talked about regarding the tax laws that ought to kick in 1st of January next year must be addressed, otherwise the potential risks are enormous. Borno bomb blast sparks heightened security nationwide. It's a case of several times beating, always shy now. There's a headline adjacent the name masts with a picture of Ojulari, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPCL. It says NNPC directors pay soars 58% to 4 billion naira. That's a quite significant raise in pay there. What are the factors that drove such a spike? You can read up details on page 19 of the Punch newspaper today. And then the star headline with a kicker, 2026 budget, Anambra, Enugu, Kano lead in education funding. Quite a sterling example there being set. One rider with it, Akwa Ibom, Imo lag in education allocation as 16 states fall below UNESCO benchmark. That's on page 2 where you find those details. We've said several things about our education funding in this country, but whether we're coming with sincerity of purpose or not is a different case altogether. The next generation will need as much education, maybe far more education than the generations before them, because we live in a different world now. And one way government can show commitment is to continue to do an upward review of investments in that all-important sector. All right, let's take it further down with 3 more headlines. Bottom left this time says 7,900 inmates pardoned in 3 years. Details you can find on page 7. Christmas Day tanker explosion claims 2 lives in Lagos. Pages 4 and 5 have those details for you. Quite a sad story there this Yuletide season. Federal government reshuffles NCAA directors amid corruption allegations on page 20 of the Punch newspaper today. Please do well to read up details so you pick up that paper as we move next to the Daily Trust newspaper.
All right, now the Daily Trust newspaper, and below the nameplate it says Gbajabiamila not replaced as chief of staff, and that's from the presidency. Now, a little bit of
that rumor was very rife in the course of this week, saying that the chief of staff of the president, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, had been replaced by the principal private secretary to the president in the presence of Muri Okwuola. But Bayo Onanuga yesterday put out a public statement stating very clearly that both gentlemen are still in their roles. Nobody has taken any other person's job. But again, people say in every rumor there's an element of truth. Maybe there were some variables, some factors around some reshuffling or some sack or something, but the fact remains that the presidency says no such thing happened, and also urged news people to double check their stories before they put them out.
Very important. And of course, that read is on page 14 of the Daily Trust. Now, next says 2 killed, many injured in Lagos tanker explosion. And that you will find on page 14 also. Very sad story there. Now, next we have stakeholders set agenda for new oil sector regulatory chiefs. And that read is on page 48. Now, the star story reads, peaceful Christmas nationwide. No. That's true. That's good. We didn't hear any strategy.
Quite peaceful. Quite peaceful. In fact, there was one that got in my heart today about a kidnap attempt that was botched all right, that the police came to the rescue. And yes, exactly.
Fantastic.
And was able to rescue the victim. I mean, the person who would have been the victim. You see, that's the worst you should get, where you say they tried, but they failed because our men in uniform moved, all right, to intervene and things like that. So let's not hear all this bombing of a mosque, one church being attacked, some village people, some community, we shouldn't be hearing about all those right now. Again, Jomai, that takes us back to the issue of how do you cut the snake by the head? Because the whole time it's like we're playing with the tail of the snake. We're not even cutting the tail, we're being fiddling with it, But how do you cut the head? Which is where every right-thinking person, home and abroad, is now saying, let's deal with those who are behind these criminals, their sponsors, whether they are giving them funding, whether they are giving them logistics, they're giving them food or fuel or drugs. Talking of drugs, by the way, the NDLEA has done an amazing work in that regard over the years to say, look, today you're hearing stories about how drug entities, drug cartels, all right, have been busted. In some cases, you see those who supply them drugs are arrested, they are intercepted midway.
Their warehouses burnt down.
Exactly, because it takes more than the normal mind for some of these things to be done. How do you go on a Friday to where there are worshippers in the mosque and you shoot down as many people as you can, all right? It's crazy. On a Sunday, you attack churches, you go to a village where people are minding their business, doing their fishing, doing their farming, you shoot sporadically, you burn down houses, you come at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you kidnap young girls from schools and things like that. You must be out of your mind to do that. So it must be a concerted effort. There must be a handshake, as they say, of some kind, so that at the end of the day, we also now see where the law begins to bite. So if you say somebody has been found, there's an overwhelming, convincing evidence against an individual or a corporate organization, for example, to have been sponsoring terrorism. The Nigerian laws are clear about that. I discussed it with the lawyer here on Scale of Justice the other time. Nigerian laws are very clear about funding terrorism, supporting them. You can't get away with it. So our laws must bring people in this regard to justice.
Well said, well said. And no one is above the law. It's very important that we understand that. And like you said, you've said a lot and you've really covered it all when it comes to people must be brought to book. It's very important, whether you sponsor or you are in support, you must be brought to book because you are an accessible
accessory to the crime.
Exactly. So it's just unfortunate that this is where we are at this point. But hopefully the needful is done. Like everyone is on, I always say tippy toes. Everyone is on their toes when it comes to trying to curb this menace in the society. It's just unfortunate. Like really, people going to worship and then you decide to go there and bomb the whole place with it's just unfortunate. It's really bad. But at the same time, hope the needful is done and we get more happy news. When we get happy news like this, it delights us as a Nigerian and, of course, as a nation. Now, below all of that, the foot of the Daily Trust, it says, Borno mocks blast. I watch worshippers fall. That would have been very hard. That's from the Imam. That would have been very hard. People falling and dying, screaming for help.
So that gentleman must have been traumatized.
He is he is traumatized. It's just unfortunate. You know what it is for someone to explode in front of you. Have you seen documentaries? How irritating it is. Can you eat for days?
You can watch it. It's gory.
It's very gory. So to watch that, these are human life individuals that came. Of course, they went to the church before they prayed Assalamu alaikum. They were friendly, and then they stopped prayers, and the person you just said, peace be upon you, is no more. It's just unfortunate. It's just sad. It's just very sad, really. We can't stop talking about it. It's just very sad. And of course, that's all on the Daily Trust. And of course, that particular news is on page 8 of the Daily Trust, but you can go out and get yourself a copy to be well abreast with all the major headlines of the newspaper. Next, we have the Daily Sun. Over to you, Uyi.
Incidentally, Daily Sun is our last paper this morning. Let's look at the headline. Just adjacent the nameplate says, can PFN back Israeli Prime Minister on call to end killing of Nigerian Christians on page 27. FG ASU signed new agreement on varsity funding, staff welfare, others. 40% increase in academic staff salary commencing January 1. I think this is the best thing that has happened to Nigerian university system in
Yes.
about 16 years.
Yes, this is long overdue.
Right.
Really. Like, well, why are we happy? Why are we celebrating? I know this is good. This is a great achievement, but this is long overdue, and that is why our educational sector is the way it is. When you come to tertiary institutions, that is why we're so lackadaisical that you can go on. So, back in the day, were you not part of the system? We were part of the system. We stayed home for 2 years after we got our admissions and all of that. It's
just because of an industrial action.
Exactly, and this is long overdue. I think we need to take some of these sectors very seriously. Please don't quote me, don't come for me, but the truth is all sectors are important. But you see, health education, we should take priority, very important sectors. One, these are the leaders of tomorrow, our children. And then, of course, health sector has to do with human life.
Right.
So we have to prioritize these sectors we have to hold them really high. And that is why we have health workers. I'm going to deviate now. Health workers, doctors, midwives going abroad, and we have most of our children. As far as Ghana,
Right.
they prefer to school in Ghana or
right.
nearby.
And be proud of it.
In Cotonou, I'm very proud of the school in Nigeria where we have amazing lecturers, where we have academic staffs who are up on their game. It's just unfortunate that this is what we are. This is where we are. That you'll be surprised that a lecturer cannot even afford a good car, these are things we should look at. They've done a lot, so this is long overdue. For as much as we're happy about it, but we pray that it sees the light of day. Because we've read things like this. Promises have been made, not fulfilled. But at the same time, I think we'll talk more and we'll cheer about it when we see the impact of this particular news making rounds.
Well said. Right, let's make progress. We should say congratulations to ASUU. At least they can take a breather for a second.
Yeah, they can. With fingers crossed, though.
As our people say, drink water and drop cup, right?
Exactly.
All right, we have the star headline for you on the Daily Sun today. Kike says, insecurity, PDP dismisses Tinubu's assurances on religion. There's a writer to it. Calls president's Christmas message empty promises. Just for the record, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is in the opposition. All right. All right, let's look at 4 more headlines, starting with the one on the left side bottom of the page. President debunks rumor of Gbajabiamila's replacement as chief of staff. Abia takes over regulation of electricity in states from NERC. 2 Kano lawmakers' death heartbreaking, unprecedented. Governor Yusuf, Jomadi said, some report says those deaths, both of them occurred 30 minutes apart. And these were 2 gentlemen representing their different constituencies in Kano State House of Assembly. And now the governor himself says, to put it mildly, it was not just only heartbreaking, it says unprecedented.
Yeah, it is really. And for as much as we do not know the details of the cause of death, though we do not know, but I think as an individual, we should take our health into priority, and we should really take priority when it comes to our health. Many individuals, they don't even go for the medical checkup to see, because some people can just slump and you wonder what's going on, but you don't check your BP, you do not check whether you have a low blood pressure or high blood pressure, you don't check whether you are diabetic, you do not check all of these, high cholesterol, all of these things. Maybe because I do health guide, I'm very serious or particular, but the truth is Nigerians, we're just walking. We need to walk and eat and at the same time, but we do not check the most important, our health. Like I said, once there is life, there is hope.
There's hope, right.
So it's very important that we need to check our health. We need to take it into preference. Most people don't, so we really need to. It doesn't matter whether even the elites, they're so busy with work and all of that, they forget these sort of things. They check your blood pressure, check all of these things. It's very important.
Right, so can imagine. Well, let's wrap it up on the Daily Sun for you. Just one more headline before we're done. It says Christmas, Kebbi, Kano, Gombe, Imo, Ebonyi. Enugu governors felicitate Christians, called for peace, unity. Well, those are your headlines from the Daily Sun today. Please do well to read up details for yourself, and of course, be sure you stay ahead of fake news and misinformation. All right, We also like to remind you that all of these headlines and the details that follow them are just as published by the respective publishers. Global Television or the team here on Global Morning does not in any way contribute to them. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, so much to talk about on the show. Do stay with us. Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
Helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Christmas this year has been, well, very colorful and peculiar in many ways. Of course, the financial reality as it is today in the country is one of the factors that have defined how people celebrated and experienced Christmas this year. But as is always the case with Christmas, you will hear fireworks going off days before. Of course, on the eve of it, which many persons refer to as watch nights or Christmas Eve, as we know it, and things like that. And then, of course, you see people putting on new clothes, accessories to match.
Hair.
Well, yes, hair. Food, chicken, stuff going on as all of that. People celebrating the best way they can without having to necessarily break the bank to do that. One of the things Global Television on our part has done has been to look at it from a wide range of angles, from one city to another, one state to another, how people have celebrated and what the message has been from across the country. We'll begin from Kano State, where our correspondent Idris Jibrin has done a panoramic reporting on what Christmas celebration was like in Kano State yesterday.
Christmas in Kano, Nigeria's center of Islamic learning and one of the country's most historic and culturally rich cities, presents the Christian community with a unique blend of faith and tradition. Across the state, churches organize special services and carol concert, drawing worshippers together in a joyful celebration of the season. Christmas is an annual festival commemorating the birth of Jesus Christ, observed on December 25th by billions of people around the world as a religious and cultural celebration. Beyond the decoration and festivities, the season carries a message that transcends cultures and beliefs.
The message this day, Christmas, is the message about the birth of Jesus Christ, the coming of the Messiah. This day is the day that I've been choosing for all Christians to celebrate His coming. So we are excited, we are happy all over the world. And the birthday of Jesus Christ is one of the highly best celebrated birthday in the world.
We should respect our neighbors. We should treat them like human beings. Because we are created by God. We did not create ourselves. In fact, let me tell you, you did not choose your family. You did not choose where to be born. You did not choose your state. You did not choose your tribe. You just wake up and discover you are either Hausa or Fulani or Igbo or any other tribe. This is my message for our people in Nigeria and all over the world this Christmas. And I pray that God will grant us that peace. Yes.
For many Christians in Kano, Christmas represents the story of divine hope entering the world through the birth of Jesus Christ. For others, it serves as a reminder of generosity, family values, and communal living.
According to the book of Isaiah chapter 9 from verse 6 and 7, the Bible said that another name for Jesus is the Prince of Peace. So my prayer is that God will grant us peace in northern Nigeria, peace in Nigeria, because if there is no peace, there can be prosperity. And we need prosperity as individuals, as a people, to prosper. Because if the roads are not clear, you can't come here to interview me.
Amidst ongoing security challenges facing Nigeria, the central message from the Christian community in Kano this Christmas is a call for peace as a foundation for sustainable national development.
My prayer is that God will bring back the peace and security, especially in the northern part of this country. That the Lord will touch the heart of these insurgents, because I may not believe that the war can be completely won through military might alone, but there should be a kind of God should touch their hearts, to change their minds. Because many of these insurgents also live among us,
Kano State, known for its diverse population, once again reflects mutual respect and peaceful coexistence, as the Christmas season provides an opportunity for people of different faith and background to celebrate harmony and unity. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
Oh, thank you so very much, Idris. What interested me in this, one of the things that interested me in this story is how that you could see the celebration. All right, because last time I really paid attention to stories from Kano was during Salah. Yeah. Obviously, we have colleagues who are from Kano State. Of course. All right, and then of course Idris would always send in reports from that part of the country and all of that. But you see, it just shows that Nigeria is a multifaceted society.
Yes, we are. Right? Yes, we
and are. It will appear, for obvious reasons, it is during celebrations or commemorations like this that we get to see that, all right? And then you're not asking yourself, how is it that we're not bringing that element, that culture, all right, that part of us to the fore every day as we relate with ourselves, as we interact, across the country. I remember I heard one of the gentlemen, one of the respondents in this report saying that you don't choose where you were born. You don't choose your parents.
Very true.
You just grow up and realize that, well, I'm a Kano man, I'm an Enugu man, I'm an Oyo man,
that is
and these are my parents, all right?
You forgot to mention Edo man.
Well, of course, I'm an Edo man, and things like that. You don't make those choices. And interestingly, you can't grow up at some point and tell yourself, well, I'm tired of being an Edo man. I think it's time I become a Kogi man. No, you can't do that. No. You can fall in love with people from other parts of the country, but you can't come from there. Therefore, while you're appreciating where you come from, which you cannot change, by the way, no matter how much you try, you've got to embrace and appreciate people from other parts. One of the challenges of Hajj, this is very fundamental, is the fact that when people do not think like you, when people do not worship like you, people do not believe like you tend to want to come in conflict with them, not realizing that, as they say in law, where your right stops, that's where someone else's right begins.
True.
So while you're practicing your faith, which people have right to, absolutely, you must have respect for the other person's faith. You must even, where you can, where it doesn't come in conflict with your own faith, celebrate with them, or at least wish them the best without having to come in conflict with those people. And interestingly, too, on the final note, this week, just a few days ago, Idris also filed in a report from Kano, where southern communities across Kano State held a meeting with the Commissioner of Information in that state. And one of the things they said was that Kano has been largely peaceful. In fact, at some point where there were going to be skirmishes of insecurity and issues like that, the government waded in as quickly as possible and they were addressed. And these people, these southerners still live in Kano. They have not left Kano because for many of them, there's no other home than Kano.
Exactly.
So we must realize that we're first Nigerians than anything else. And that's why this idea of people saying that, as we have seen it being propagated, to say we should knock off these place of origin and place of birth.
Exactly.
What is your citizenship? Are you a Nigerian? Yes, I am. End of story.
End of story. It doesn't matter what tribe you're from, where you, like you mentioned, it doesn't matter where you're from. You do not pick where you're from. You find yourself there because God has ordained that you be there. So at the same time, brotherhood, sisterhood is very important. And I think we take that for granted. Like I was telling someone, when you're outside the shores of Nigeria, you'll be happy when you see someone that is a Nigerian. You don't even care whether he's Kogi, Edo, or Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, doesn't count. You won't tell him, come, and you say, my brother, my sister, let's eat here. I think this one will favor us, or you'll be surprised the unity in which it brings. You see, one thing that brings us together in this country, festivities and football. I always say, festivities and football, you forget the fact that you are a Nigerian or you're a Muslim or I'm a Christian or
you're not even any of them.
Or you're not even any of them. As long as you're celebrating, I am celebrating. That was how it was back in the day. Growing up as a child, that was how it was. When there are festivities like this, you're excited. Why would I make food in my house when my neighbor is of it and he celebrates? Of course, he's going to bring food over and I will not. That was how it was. But we do not understand so many things has happened. They say so many water has gone under the bridge. But I hope we still come back to that. Because that was a time of so much love, empathy, so much. You can just go out and know that this person is my brother, not minding whether the person is Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba. Nobody cares about that. So I think we need it. We really need to. That's why I always talk about rebranding. So I had a guest on one of my programs Inside Today, and she said, Jumai, really, I don't want to be identified as an Igbo person. For as much as I love my people, I love where I'm from. But I am a Nigerian first. Where you say where I'm from? I'm a Nigerian. You're a Nigerian. We're all together. So I think we need to learn. We need to go back to the drawing board and learn a lot when it comes to that brotherhood, sisterhood. Let's never take it for granted, really, because we just have each other. No one is an island. We have each other. So it's very important, and it goes a long way.
And I'm curious about some of these factors that drive this unity amongst us. Using religion, using ethnicity, using tribalism, using region. You're not from this region.
Exactly.
I'm a Southern boy, for example. So you're living in the South. You think there's so much of, if you like, cohesion across the entire North. You come here, you realize that the guy from Northwest has an issue with the guy from Northeast. The guy from the Northeast feels, okay, the guy from North Central has an issue and things like that. And then you're not asking yourself, how do we live at that level? You go to the South. The guy from the South has an issue with the guy from the Southeast. The guy from the Southeast has an issue with the guy from the Southwest. And if you're in the North, you think the entire southern part of the country is knitted together, whereas that's not the reality. Right. And then you go to a place like even Delta, you see the guy, he says, no, me, I'm a Robo man. No, me, I'm an Ijo man. Me, I'm an Ishekiri man.
Exactly.
And if you're not in Delta State, you're somewhere in, let's say, Nasarawa, for example, or you're somewhere in Abia State, you would have thought that the entire Delta speaks one language.
No, they don't.
It's one, whereas that's not the case, for example. I was telling somebody just this Christmas week, I said, look, in my local government, for example, in Edo State, you have more than a dozen languages. That's one local government out of 18. But the question is, can we look past those factors and see ourselves first as human beings and second as Nigerians? And then add to that, we must be able to form or forge a common front against politicians who, especially around election cycles, I mean, electionary year, use these issues around religion, tribalism, language, and region to divide people. Because it may serve their interest, but the question is, what implications does it have for us as a people?
Yeah, it's very important, and that's why, like I said, you have to try as much as possible to remove the good eggs from the bad eggs. There are some politicians who are all out there for unity, peace, bringing people together, loving everyone, coming together. Your problem is mine, my problem is yours. Let's just work together for the greater good. But some are hell-bent, pardon me if I use that word, in tearing us apart. And we need to see through those individuals. Like, elections are around the corner. We asked Pastor Elisha something yesterday, and we said, as Christians, because most Christians will tell you, oh, please, I'm not going to vote. I'm tired. What's happening? You'll be surprised that maybe it was your vote that would have counted that didn't count. So keep it is your civic right and duty to make a difference. And we must see through these individuals who come as friends and behind their unfriendly friends. So it's important that we see through. We shouldn't go through the same cycle in your own part where you are, your constituency where you are, and you see that things are not working right. Check from the leader, so you know whether to do the needful when it comes to all of these things. But I think we have a role to play. It starts with you and I first, and then we can forge ahead. But at the same time, Kano State had a wonderful celebration. We could see the church service there. Everyone was dancing. Everyone is happy, talking about it, celebration galore. And we hope it stays that way throughout the festivity to get into the new year. Yeah, sure, of course. What more can we say? Christmas is not just a one-day thing, even though we know 25th of December is the day dedicated to it. However, Christmas is a spirit, Christmas is a lifestyle, and it's the reason you see people, even those who do not celebrate, those who are not Christians, or I still say that, look, we must find a way to live out the ideals that underpin Christmas in itself, the essence of it, love, sacrifice, and then, of course, renewal and birthing of new things. I think this is what will now take you to Imo State, where Amarachi Ibe has filed a report focusing on how Christmas was celebrated in the southeastern states of Nigeria.
Our journey begins in Obibiezena, where Patrick Sunday and his family welcomes us warmly. Despite the challenges of high cost of living and insecurity, Patrick shares how his family strive to keep the festive spirit alive. He emphasizes the need for government intervention to create jobs and improve security.
Well, celebration of Christmas is not just each. We thank God. We go to church to thank Him in the church. And it is not easy for one to live up to December, from January to December. He has made it for us to live up to December, so there is every need to go and thank Him wherever we are.
A short distance away, the family of Gabinus Umunnakwe shares a similar story. Limited income has reduced the scale of celebration, but hope remains strong. Gabinus appeals for policies that support job creation and provide relief for struggling families, noting that festive joy should not be a luxury.
We are enjoying it now, since we are alive. That's the first thing. Since we are alive, we're healthy enough. Let's look onto the poor masses, create jobs for the masses. My message to them is not about everybody should sow his or her coat according to our size. If you don't have a cup of curry, you learn from somebody who has. Help the person, or you borrow from the person.
For these families, Christmas is no longer about abundance, but resilience. Their experiences reflect the broader reality facing many households and highlights the urgent need for economic stability and effective governance. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
All right, you welcome back from that report, all the way from Imo State, from our Imo State correspondent, Amarachi Ibe, talking about Christmas amid challenges. And you see, people are still hopeful, and, you know, it's a different ball game. Other places you see, like you said, fireworks, a lot of people with food and all that, but people have to just live within their means and understand that, like I said, once there is life, like your mom always says, once there is life, there is hope. So it doesn't matter how you're celebrating Christmas. The most important thing is you're alive, and whatever little, like you see the color not there. There were no drinks or anything there, but it just, there was a symbol of joy and happiness and prayers and peace, and that's how we should be. Just make the most and make the best of what you have at that point and at that time. A lot of people didn't even have a joyful Christmas, quote and unquote. They didn't have the chicken, the rice, and all of that, but at least they are happy, and whatever it is, whatever they're eating that day, it's Christmas, we're alive, and we are eating something. So I think we should just be hopeful, and we should just be happy. It doesn't matter, you might not have the whole world, but at the same time, just be happy and grateful you are alive.
Be happy and grateful that you are alive. Marachebe, we should say we are grateful for this report you have done. Christmas is such an amazing time. But there's something I noticed. You know, I said to you off camera that Amarachi did an amazing job with this report. I mean, I like how that she went to a family, right? Took out time, spent time with them, interact with them. It was just more than telling a story. It was, I saw connection. Yes. I saw authenticity. Yes. But what I also saw was people who didn't have to live above their means, but still wanted to celebrate. Exactly. As much as they can. That's the Nigerian spirit, isn't it? That is
the Nigerian spirit. And at the same time, you are happy for what you have. Like I've always, although maybe it's my upbringing, shout out to my amazing dad, Alhaji Jimoh Mohammed Ibrahim, who has taught us that you must be content. Contentment is key with what you have. Do not look at others. Be content with what you have. I think that has been the precept that has, you know, throughout growing up and all of that. He has taught us that contentment is key. Once you are content, you have everything. You'll be happy with the little you have. You make the most out of it. And I think that's where we look at our Nigerian youths, the Gen Zs. Shout out to all of you. Hi, Gen Zs. But at the same time, I think they have a lot to learn when it comes to patience, tolerance, contentment, and all of that. So once you have that, you have everything, really. Once you have that, you have everything. You have everything. So that was what I saw. Look at the wife, she's happy, her husband is talking. She didn't have to keep a sad face, it's Christmas, and what is he doing? She was just happy with what they have. So it goes a long way.
It does. Well, time to domesticate, so to speak, look at how Christmas was celebrated yesterday here in Abuja. It was also special, like you have in other parts of the country. Sadiya Yakubu went to churches, spoke with clerics, as well as highlighted the mood during services marking Christmas celebration.
Christian faithfuls gathered in the presence of God to celebrate the birth of Jesus, a day of hope, joy and thanksgiving for God's gift to humanity. It was a message of love, sacrifice, and forgiveness at both the Holy Trinity Catholic Church, Maitama, and Ekwa Church, Central Area, Abuja.
Well, today is Christmas, and Christmas is the celebration of the taking of flesh of God, God coming down to earth to save mankind.
On this special day, people come together with their families and friends, exchange gifts, and pray for peace and prosperity, as well as sing carols. Christmas also reminds Christian faithfuls of the importance of gratitude for what they have and care for the less privileged.
Today is a very wonderful day, not only me, to the whole world.
We are celebrating because this day, centuries ago, over 20 centuries ago, we are privileged to have God so love us mightily, to have given us his one and only begotten Son.
Christmas was prophesied a long time ago through Prophet Isaiah that salvation will come into the world through Christ.
The sermon is wonderful. It reminded us about the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
As the Christmas Day celebration continues, the prayer remains for peace to reign in the hearts and homes of the celebrants. Sadiya Yakubu, Reporting for Global Television News.
Well, that was Abuja story for you. Thank you, Sadiya Yakubu, for taking the time to do that for us. But again, like Juma and I said a while ago, this is a spirit. We must not just commemorate on the 25th of December and leave it behind. We must carry it into the new year and the years after that. It must reflect in how we relate to people, neighbors, colleagues, and even our clients, for example. But then again, Christmas, like I mentioned yesterday, is more like a pointer to the coming or even the start of another year. As it stands today, for example, we're just 5 days away from 2026.
Yes,
and,
yes, we are.
Right.
Just 5 days away, and we say Happy New Year. It was just like yesterday, though. It was really, really fast. Well, it just happened quickly.
Quickly, right.
At the same time, a lot of individuals have learned a lot from this. Remember your loved ones. Remember that life, just be happy with life. Try as much as possible to be happy, be content, and just show that care, love, empathy. You said something very vital yesterday. You said something about checking on individuals, checking on your loved ones, checking on your friends, know how they are. That goes a long way. You don't have to give so much. It's not about money. It's not all about money. Money is not everything. I always stop. They say money. I know money is good. Yeah, it's good, but it's not everything. You see that. Hello, how are you? How are you doing this time, this period? It goes a long way.
I just called to check up on you.
Check up on you. Checking up on someone, it's big. Many don't have it.
Right.
Many don't have it, So at this point, I read a post. Someone said, please be nice, be kind this period, because a lot of people are going through a lot. They've lost loved ones, blah, this. Yeah, it's true. But at the same time, you have a role to play by checking up on individual. It's not about you saying, okay, come and eat Christmas. Yeah, it's good to share. Yes, it's good to give. But at the same time, checking up on someone genuinely to know how he or she is doing goes a long way. That's something that money cannot buy.
All right, I can imagine. Well, let's set our priorities right as we go into the new year and be sure that we do not repeat the mistakes of 2025. It may not be a perfect year next year, but we've got to ensure that we make the most of it. As they would say, be sure you do your part. I mean, the much you can. Be sure that even though your life may not ultimately be perfect, but it must have improved in certain ways that are measurable and concrete. All right, as we begin to gear up for our conversation on the show this morning, which is a big one and the focal point, let's take a break now. Global Morning returns shortly.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
One of the things that have shaped the 2025 experience for Nigerians, especially from the government end, has been the introduction and in some cases the implementation of a broad range of policies by the Tinubu government, whether in the area of economy or foreign relations. This is a year winding down already, and we're looking at what the impact has been across board, especially given the peculiar challenges that the Tinubu administration inherited on the 29th of May 2023. Joining us to do this analysis is a public policy consultant, Emmanuel Ozwemena. Well, I should say happy holidays to you, Ima.
Yes, thank you, and wishing you the same. Thank you.
Great. You and I, at the start of this year, began talking about the policy thrust of President Bola Tinubu. This is almost 365 days down the line. Give us a quick run of your assessment of policy impact under this government in the last 1 year.
I think it's obvious that the president seems to be having some sort of handle on the governance process. Recall that on May 29th, 2025, it became 2 years in office for him. I'm sure he would have been able to learn through the ropes on governance process. Because most times when presidents are sworn in, some take about 6 months to be able to get a handle on the process. Some take longer, about a year or thereabout. But by and large, I'm sure he has given the best shot that he can give to the process. It's been sometimes he's taking some decisions that he has to walk back on, either because it wasn't properly thought through at the beginning. But I think in assessing him, so far so good. But there's a lot of room for improvement. There are some things where he needed to have taken action earlier on that he delayed. One of them is the appointment of ambassadors. To recall, we've discussed this over time until we had this altercation with the President Donald Trump of the United States. The president didn't consider it very, very significant that he should have ambassadors. But now they've been appointed even though yet to be, to be in their mission, which will take from the process, say over the next 3, 4, 5 months, because there are back and forth around those processes. But for the National Assembly, they've cleared them, I think, before going on break. Let's see how it goes over the next couple of months. Perhaps they will be able to be in their missions across the 107 missions that Nigeria has across the world. Thank you.
For the half, the last half of 2023, Nigerians complained a lot, evidently following the removal of fuel subsidy. The whole of 2024, Nigerians grumbled and fumed again because the economy did bite. Was that the same from your assessment in 2025?
Well, in 2025, even though the economy is, you can't say the economy had rebound, but it's making some level of progress in terms of a couple of gains here and there. But it's not yet to huru, because it's still work in progress in terms of whether it's food, prices of food commodities, whether it's the stabilization of the exchange rates, whether you are talking about the implementation of the budget. For instance, in budget implementation, because most businesses in Nigeria depend on the public sector to drive it. The public sector drives the economy in Nigeria. So when you have a budget that was meant to run from January to December, but now we are being told it will be extended to March. If you recall earlier in the year, I think sometime in July, August, the Minister of Finance was saying that the budget implementation will start in September. So what it simply means, if you're ending the budget in August, I'm talking about 2025 budget, because you have 2024, spilling over into 2025 in terms of implementation. As of today, the fact is that we are moving it to, spilling it over to March 2025. So sometimes in terms of strategy, in terms of even the guys who need to take business decisions, this shift or move or whatever or spill over usually do not all go well for businesses. They have if we have a budget that start running from January to December, let's find a way of getting, keeping track of it. If we are now shifting our budget from August to September, let's also think about that. There's no hard and fast rule about when your budget should start. In the US, the budget year, even though for Britain, the budget year starts in January. But all you need to do to have growth in your economy is consistency. Because when policies are not consistent, then there's a problem of planning, there's a problem of, in fact, it affects the entire sectors that play within that economy. What we need to do is to have consistency of policies. So, but my take is that the earlier the budget is implemented in terms of discipline. In fact, in the president's budget speech at the National Assembly a few days ago, he was talking about that 2022, 2026, that is going to be more discipline in terms of implementation. Let's see how it goes. My fear is that 2026 is a year before the election. We have 12 months to the election. So in terms of those policy implementation, I don't know how much of it that will be impacted by the politics of second term, politics of succession, and politics of 2027.
All right, Emmanuel, it's great to have you on the program Global Morning, and I want us to delve into. Yes, I'm Jumai. I'm the co-host on the show. All right, now let's delve into ASUU now. Now, the federal government and ASUU now they've signed this new agreement on varsity funding, that's staff welfare and others. Do you think we know this year we've been going back and forth when it comes to ASUU, the federal government, of course, back and forth with this matter. Do you think this is long overdue, or is something we should be excited for? And do you think it will see the light of day? Because we've heard promises like this before. They've had that offer and agreement. But do you think this will actually see the light of day this time?
No, I doubt. I have my doubts. My doubts are based on historical, reasons. I've lived in this country for over 5 decades. So what it means is that I've seen ASUU. Let's just roll our mind back to 35 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We had the military administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, in place. The military administration of Ibrahim Babangida. He fought with ASUU. It was a huge fight. They finally ASUU came up with a plan, which incidentally, one of my lecturers then in the university told me of, who was a top executive of ASUU. And they had a plan of designing what you call the tertiary education fund. It was designed by ASUU. It wasn't federal government idea. And the idea was because the president then, General Babangida, said, look, we don't have money to fund education, especially higher education. So ASUU came up with a plan on how to raise money for education as tertiary education fund. And in fact, then it was, over time, when it was set up, essentially, they had the same number, ASUU and government had the same number of people, on the board of tertiary education trust fund. Education trust fund initially. And the idea was to have enough fund for funding education, especially higher education in Nigeria. But reflect back, has that goal been achieved? Each time government say, I don't have money, the first question I ask, you collect %, I think about 2 or 5% from companies, from their profits as education tax. So how much comes from that very fund? What is the need? How much is the ASUU or the higher education in Nigeria asking for? So the point is that let's go back and say, look, how do we fund education? If tertiary education fund is unable to fund it, what else can we do? So there have been some agreements. When the administration of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, the administration of Umar Musa Yar'Adua, who incidentally was a former member of ASUU, that of Goodluck, who was also a member of ASUU. We also had President Muhammadu Buhari, and then the current administration. The thing is that managing the engagement between federal government and ASUU never worked. It will always break down. Because part of the agreement, or part of I think the last time ASUU went on strike, it was over 10 years, an agreement that was signed over 10 years ago. That was why they went on strike. So if in 10 years, this agreement could not be implemented, I doubt whether it will be implemented now. But the only thing is that let's be hopeful. But I think we must recalibrate on funding of tertiary education in Nigeria. We must think through it. Just for reflection, let's ask what happened with the tertiary education fund. Is it that the collectibles the receivables were not enough, or was it a disbursement profit? What really happened? Because if we think through it, we could find out that is it that there's an inconsistency in the implementation or whatever. But I think if we are serious, that very proposal could have been able to fund education in Nigeria, on its own. Then again, we also need to think outside the box. Universities abroad, have what they call a endowment fund. We have an endowment fund in Nigeria. You have all kinds of philanthropies. kinds of people who claim to be independent of government, use it to run, the system. Harvard University, for instance, is over 100 years old, and they have an endowment fund that provides scholarships.
All right, Mr. Emmanuel. You know what? Let's quickly. Emmanuel. All right.
What is it that we are not doing?
All right, Emmanuel. Let's quickly go on a very quick break. Let's go on a very quick break, Emmanuel.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Let's go on a very quick break, and of course, the program continues shortly. Do not go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, you're welcome back. And yes, this is the second discuss of the day. Second discuss of the day, right? And we're not doing it alone, we're doing it with Mr. Emmanuel Ozomena. And of course, he's joining us live virtually on the program this morning, and we're just taking a look at the whole 2025 policies and all of that, everything encompassed from education to security to health, wherever it takes us to. We'll just be talking about it. And Mr. Emmanuel Ozomena, thank you so much for joining in again.
Thank you, my pleasure.
All right. I want us to talk about Nigerian U.S., the intervention by the United States of America into Nigeria concerning terrorists, concerning Christians who are being killed in the north and all of that. What's your take on that generally? For many individuals will say it's a blessing in disguise, because if it wasn't for the intervention, U.S. President Donald Trump talking about this issue of terrorists in Nigeria, governors, even our president will not be concerned when it comes to nipping this particular menace in the bud. What is your take? And of course, the recent attack that just happened in Sokoto, right? That happened in Sokoto by the U.S., the intervention that happened with the terrorist group and all of that encompassed. What is your take on it from the beginning of the United States coming into Nigeria and trying to sit with us on a round table to talk about curbing this menace of insecurity in Nigeria?
It's obvious that we had to wait for the President of the United States, Donald Trump, to step in before we now began to prioritize, security. It's not as if we're not security. I mean, in the last 10, 15 years, security allocation to budget allocation to security has been the highest. I mean, even in 2026 proposed 26 appropriation bill, I mean, security has the highest chunk of the budget. So, the question is why haven't we performed? Gotten a very handle on it? Is it political will? Is it lack of capacity, or what actually? So that's the question most people will be asking. But the clear thing is that Donald Trump was a wake-up call the moment he made that social post on October 30th. the Nigerian government and the people of Nigeria suddenly woke up. And that engagement has been on. I mean, initially, it was a question of, Donald Trump was wrong, he was right. That argument was in the public space, whether it's Christians that are being killed or Muslims that are being killed. That argument, persisted for several weeks. But the point is that, like I had repeatedly asked, do we have a problem? That's number one. If we have a problem, what type of problem do we have? Number two, how do to tackle this problem? Do we think we have enough capacity to manage it, or do we need additional external help? Those arguments have been on. But suddenly, I think at a point, the Nigerian government realized that the question of either deflecting Donald Trump or arguing with whatever the U.S. government had said in terms of data, in terms of the scale of the problem, in terms of who the victims are, were not important, and they now decided to launch into a real dialogue, engagement, diplomatic engagement, and that began, perhaps culminated into what we had as early this morning, when Donald Trump posted on Truth Social and said, "Look, we've just carried out an action in Nigeria, Sokoto, precisely northwest Nigeria." Nigerians woke up just to see that. And perhaps in the coming days, the level of the impact, the level of the, whatever implication of this current intervention by the US, will be known. It was shocking that on December, on a day before Christmas, we saw what happened out there in Maiduguri.
Yes, the death of Muslim faithfuls in the mosques. We saw that. And then I want to ask another question, Emmanuel. Now, for some, people will say this intervention, we've seen how the United States have intervened in other matters in other nations of the world, and we saw how that turned out. Do you think, as a nation, Nigeria, we should have that? Should we be afraid when it comes to the U.S. intervening in this matter and the outcome? Do you think it's going to be a positive outcome at the long run, or is something that we might have dire consequences? Hello, Emmanuel, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. The clear thing is, I've listened to all the arguments. I've also been involved in that public debate over why the U.S. I mean, I've heard people say, they are here for a crude oil. Some say they are here because they are angry there's Dangote refinery. Some other people say, no, they are here because they want to take over the rare earth minerals across Nigeria. All kinds of arguments. The question is that if you have battled insecurity for over 15 years, I mean, think back in 2007, 2008, when this entire crisis started building up in the Northeast. I mean, not too many people paid attention when Boko Haram, Muhammad Yusuf, and all that started. And then they now began to itemize in terms of defragment into various factions. We're not really ready when it happened. No one, you don't blame the security system, because they were not ready for it. I mean, no country in the world expelled that scale of a crisis. But it happened. I mean, when it happened, the question is that what do we do next? In 15 years or more than that, we've been trying to get a handle on this problem, and we've not been able to do that.
Yes.
The question is, if the U.S. has expressed willingness to support Nigeria in being able to root out, these terrorists, if you ask me, it's a welcome development. We should ask them, because the more we have a peaceful community, the more we have a peaceful country, the more we have a more stable country, the more you can attract more investment. It has a way of, rubbing off on the overall outlook of a country. Because if you're doing a projection of investment as a company, as an international firm, one of the first things you're going to look at is security and stability. It has a way of improving ease of doing business. Nobody wants to go and invest in an environment where there's crisis. So I think what we need to do is to begin to look at the positive sides of the U.S. intervention. How can we work with the U.S. in terms of creating a more stable country? I mean, I was happy when the government actually expressed their willingness to work with the United States. The point is that, which one do we want? A country that is insecure or a country that is secured? So it's a question of looking at the opportunity cost. The opportunity cost of insecurity means that investors will stay away. But the opportunity cost of a stable and secure country means that you are going to attract investment. I mean, in Africa, places like Mauritius attracts high investment, is a high investment yielding country because of the level of security, because of the level of the stability.
You know what, Emmanuel, some people will say, I think it was a joke. I want to believe it was a joke. Some says because of the United States intervening in this matter, that is why you see some of our governors up on their game when it comes to trying to nip this particular menace in the bud, not from a very good place of their heart, because we've seen terrorist attack in some states and the lackadaisical attitude of some governors, stakeholders. But now with the U.S. coming in, you can see that it's basically out of duress. Do you think that is the case?
Not duress. The point is this. Somebody might have a problem, but haven't thought through it, haven't seen this. Like I keep saying, the first thing to do, if we do an analysis, a deep dive into the last 15 years of the Nigerian economy and ask what went wrong, how did insecurity impact on development? Take, for instance, in the Northeast now, you have set up Northeast Development Commission. What is their major role? In the bi-state, that is a Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa. Borno, Adamawa and Yobe. Okay. If you see investment of rebuilding what they call post-conflict stabilization, of rebuilding these three states, I mean, it's huge. Now, if this didn't happen, and you have to put this investment in expanding, there would have been more development. But when you bring down a house, it's going to cost you more to rebuild. It's destroyed than to rebuild. So the question is, if we do a deep dive on the impact, anybody in government, anybody who is a citizen, anybody who is a patriot, who loves Nigeria, would support a more secured Nigeria. Because when you have a more secured Nigeria, everybody prospers, everybody benefits. It becomes a shared prosperity.
Yeah. Now, Emmanuel, talking about a more prosperous Nigeria, like you just mentioned. Now, for as much as we're talking about the budget now, and of course the trillions of naira, and of course security has a huge bulk of the budget, right? Now, do you think, in order for us to nip this in the bud for a more secured Nigeria, these financiers, individuals behind supporting, being a part of terrorism in Nigeria, do you think there's a lackadaisical attitude in trying to bring out these faces behind the mask so we'll know them, so we can actually, because no one is above the law, right? So do you think there's this drag when it comes to that angle?
Okay, I think two things I would say. First is that what this has also done is that we might need to restructure security system in Nigeria. I mean, there's debate about state police and all that. Let's look at law enforcement. In the United States, for instance, I like using US because US is a federal system and we copied our constitution from the US. If you go to New York City have a police. New York City, NYPD, New York City Police, department. And then New York State have police, and you now have FBI. So what it does is that each levels of policing has a certain level of responsibility, pays attention to issues that should be. If you reflect back in Nigeria, what you call the Nigerian police force actually started as if you county police. County means local government, municipal policing. That's how it started in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you read the biography of MD Yusuf, a former IGP, in the 70s, he was hired by Katsina District Police. That's where he was hired. But at a point in time, you now have this federalization of policing system in Nigeria, which is where we are now. But we need to go back to that original county police, district police, and what have you. Because what it will do, it will make, because security system is more of a local issues. And if you domicile policing at various levels, I mean, beginning from the bottom to top approach, FBI cannot step in until when a matter, I mean, it's above the city, the municipal police, state police, you see FBI coming to help. So we must restructure policing system, because the moment you restructure it, what it will do, it provides a local content to policing, to security. And that local content, because everybody in a community will want their community to be secured. That's one. So at each level, at the local government level, at the state level, and at the federal level, we must return back to that structure. Even if it means to have a talk with the United States Embassy here and ask them, how do you do it? What is the structure? Even in London, I mean, you have London Metropolitan Police that is different from the British overall police. Even though Britain is a centralized government. So we must restructure the security architecture. I mean, the way it is now, we can't get the result we're expecting if we keep doing what we're doing now. That's one. Then secondly, I think politicians should be as patriotic as citizens. If politicians are patriotic as citizens, one of the things we're going to have, the ripple effect is that we will have dedicated people who are committed to the community, to the country, and to God. Because that's the only way we can build that prosperous Nigeria. A prosperous Nigeria cannot happen under an atmosphere of chaos, under an atmosphere of insecurity, under an atmosphere of uncertainty. We must create that level where citizens have confidence. And building that confidence is having a secured community, secured state, and secured country.
All right, let's talk about the tax laws, Emmanuel. When those tax laws were being debated on the floor of the Nigerian parliament, it was quite controversial. At the point, no one left. 19 northern governors in this country had said they had concerns with those proposals. And really, they tabled those concerns. They were very clear on the issues that mattered to them, and they wanted those issues addressed. At a point, they held a meeting with President Tinubu over the same issues, and they all came out and unanimously said that those concerns had been ironed out. And then, of course, the rest is history, as I say, because that body of tax laws had been passed, assented to by the president, and gazetted. Now, here's what the problem is. Today, we now understand, or we are learning, that the version of the tax laws that had been passed by the Nigerian legislature, assented to by President Tinubu and gazetted, is different from the one that is going to be implemented starting from January 1st, 2026. Now, the legislature has set up a committee to look into the facts or otherwise of these very, very weighty allegations on the one hand. On the other hand, there are those now saying that, well, it has been gazetted, you can't stop the implementation of these tax laws. What are your thoughts, sir?
Massad Dasuki on the floor of the House of Representatives, raising what he called matters of privilege. I think it came under matters of privilege. Say, look, we sat in these chambers, passed this law, Senate passed, we came back to the committee at the committee level of both the House of Reps and the Senate to harmonize it. And the harmonized copy were expected to have been the decision of the National Assembly. Because when you have a harmonized, when both House chambers harmonize, it becomes the law or the decision of the National Assembly. So that harmonized copy of the bill, expectedly the Clerk of National Assembly, by protocol, by rule, by the Constitution, by what they call Authentication Act, of I think 2011, takes it to the executive for their review, for their citing, and then assent. Even if the president at any point in time has any disagreement, you return it. I mean, you have this process of keep back and forth until every issue is agreed on. So, what essentially, what the House of Honorable Dasuki said is that, look, that there are material differences between the harmonized copy and the gazetted copy, because the gazetted copy is the one that, after the signing, you now gazette and then send out for public notice. I mean, Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation takes that responsibility. They print it. So, in my head, I'm trying to figure out what would have happened. Who did what? I mean, what went wrong? I mean, why the discrepancies? Even though now, they are alleged discrepancies rather, because the committee now sitting in the House of Reps is expected to have submitted their report before before Christmas break. But from what we read in the media, they were unable to finish that. So what happens? So you now have the entire process hanging. Why do I say hanging? Because the point is that if you go ahead to implement and somebody goes to court tomorrow, that's already an issue even before you start. So what are the options left for us? The first option is to keep, place the implementation on the hold. That's one. Then two, finish. Let's get to the root of the investigation. Await the report of the House committee that is working on this. And then is anybody found culpable at any point in time? What's the next step? Maybe the lawyers knows how that should proceed. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm speaking from the point of public policy. The point is that every public policy is built on trust. The trust of the elected legislators who make law, and the trust of the executive who implement the law, and the trust of citizens who should believe that it's for good governance. So, but at the moment, if there's a doubt about that piece of legislation, I think the best, in my own opinion, we put it on the hold, implementation on the hold, until everybody will be carried along. I mean, the executive, legislature, and the citizens. Because it's about tax issues are about citizens. It's about government, both the executive, legislature, and the judiciary, because that's where the funding of public purse comes from. So, but we must have confidence in any system that we're going to implement. For me, there's nothing cast in stone that January 1st must be an implementation date, because already you have what they call already have an issue that makes it unimplementable. Because if there's a doubt, even on a particular letter, even if it's one word you have a doubt in, you go back and sort it out legislatively and then come back and then move on. I think for me, this is a more easier way of managing it. But I know, let's await and see the decisions the key actors are going to take in the next few days. We have just, I think, 4 days to 5 days to the end of the year. Perhaps before then, see a new decision on either side on how to move forward. But also, I'm sure there are some already from the media. I've seen a couple of public litigation organizations already giving notice of their intention to challenge the processes in the courts. So let's see how it plays. But for me, we shouldn't start with litigation, on a new policy that is supposed to be served for public good.
All right, let's talk about the 2026 appropriation bill now, which is in front of the National Assembly. I'm very sure there are chances you followed on the day the president presented that piece of proposal. But let's not look at not just the volume, but the elements, especially as it has to do with capital spending for 2026. And add to that, which you alluded to in passing a while ago, the fact that the 2025 budget implementation will now be stretched all the way through the first quarter of next year. Is this an aberration that should give us concern as citizens?
Well, if you watch I think President Muhammadu Buhari handed over on May 29th, 2023. When he left, the 2023 budget, or the preceding budget of 2022, were not finalized. Look at here's the kicker. First is that if you close any budget, it means that people who would have undertaken contract or provided services under that budget they find it difficult to get paid. So that's why it's a bit difficult. That's why government tries to open that budget or keep it open so as to be able to sort out issues or services or obligations arising from that budget. Because the moment you close it, you can't raise any receipt in that budget. That's why government keep it open. So we've had this overlap budget. Okay, let's call it budget overlap. And budget overlap seems to be becoming a tradition. Now we have 2024, 2025, being implemented at the same time. So what it does in public policy decision is that it shows a certain level of uncertainty. Because if you say budget is from January to December, by December 31st, we should close it. That's the budget. Or either because in the last couple of years, budget presentation has always come very late. But I would suggest, what is even a budget presentation? Most of the time, we do envelope budgeting. We don't budget according to needs. Envelope budgeting means we are going to give defense, say, 10 billion. We're going to give education 15 billion. We're going to give health 12 billion. It's not based on a needs assessment. If that is the case, so why don't we start our budgeting process by March of every year? If we start in March of every year, that's the end of the first quarter. By the end of the third quarter, a budget presentation would have been done so that before National Assembly goes on recess, on Christmas recess at any point in time, the budget is done. If it's not done, they should shave their recess and stay back. I have seen US lawmakers stay back over the weekend, over the holiday, just to get a piece of legislation done. But our National Assembly, seems not to be so committed to their job that they are elected by the people of Nigeria to do. At this point in time, they are jetting out back to wherever. So I had expected, after the president presented the budget about last week, what they would have done is to get back and work on this budget. That's the expectation.
All right, Emmanuel. We've talked about security, we've talked about education, we've talked about fuel subsidy, all of that encompass. Let's talk a bit about the health sector now. Now we see most of our health workers, doctors, nurses, jetting out at the slightest opportunity out of Nigeria for better source of livelihood, they will say, or giving what is due to them. Now, how do we actually, as a nation, or would I say the government, try as much as possible to, give what is due to our health workers for them to remain here in Nigeria and do the needful when it comes to healthcare to individuals in the country?
Well, I think the challenges in the healthcare in terms of manpower is not only in healthcare, virtually all the sectors. In the university system, bright people are leaving the system. In the health sector, people are leaving the system. In virtually all the sectors, Nigerians are leaving. I mean, if you look at what they call Japan syndrome, that is our best, that is our human resources leaving. Yesterday, I saw a report somewhere, online, that 16,000 Nigerian nurses just relocated to the UK. So the impact on the system.
Well, that is a cause for worry, Emmanuel. That's a cause for worry.
It's a whole trend in Nigeria. I mean, a few years ago, there was in Abuja, there was an incident where I think a Saudi hospital came to Nigeria to conduct for medical personnel, doctors, medical scientists, pharmacists, and all that. And it had to be stopped. They advertised it on one of the televisions, and the whole place was like a marketplace. So I think that interview had to be shut down. So what it means is that if we have health workers, if we have health professionals in Nigeria, what is their take-home pay? What is their welfare? What are we doing to keep them here? If we're not doing anything to keep them here, this almost virtually every skill at the moment is a global skill, and countries across the world are looking for skilled manpower. So wherever they can get it. So what are we doing to keep our best in country? What are we doing to keep people we have trained back in the country? So it means the government needs to go back across sectors and begin to reimagine this sector, restructure this sector, restructure the pay system, restructure the remuneration system, and restructure the entire work environment to make it conducive for people to stay. Because if you say there's a free visa, for instance, anywhere now, Nigerians, I believe half of Nigerians will empty there.
True, very true, including Mr. Uyi.
The implication is that a country is assessed by the level of their manpower. When you rate universities in the United States high, you are rating them high because of the level of manpower they have attracted. Global manpower.
Okay.
What are we attract the best into the country? So I think the government has a lot to do in terms of not just saying, not just talking about patriotism and all that, but demonstrating that if you could say an environment, a decent work environment that will keep every worker in Nigeria across sectors, all sectors.
Okay.
All right, incidentally, I would like to say a big thank you to you, Emmanuel Zarmena, for taking time, as usual, to talk to us this morning in the program.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juma.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, great. Everyone, we hope you enjoy the rest of the holiday season. I'm Wiya Mofwegwe, reminding our viewers that the views of our guests across all of our programs, including here on Global Morning, are their opinions.
Yes, they are. And thank you all so much for being a part of the program. I am Juma Manzin. Have an amazing day ahead. Happy holidays. Bye-bye.